That's Kapichat! That's Kapichat! That's Kapichat!
Okay, it's recording now. So I've confirmed that I've just had a wee. Steve, did you get the toilet?
I didn't. I made a coffee instead.
Did you?
That might help my internet connection.
It is at the minute. It's nice.
Yeah.
Really good connection. So what was I saying?
You didn't say where you studied music.
North somewhere.
Well, I like to say it was a Sheffield Uni degree because it was. So Sheffield Uni, but actually it was at Barnsley College. It was awful.
Oh.
So I lived in Barnsley for a year and then thought, I'm just going to get the train in every day and live in Sheffield. So lived in Sheffield, but a waste of time, absolute waste of time. I went there because I didn't know what to do when I was 18. I didn't know what to do. I was a bit rubbish at school. I like playing guitar, so it's like, right, let's go and do it was a degree in popular music studies. So it was just some recording, some music history, some performance. It was a bit of everything really. And it was just a waste of time. It was very expensive, got in a lot of debt. And didn't particularly enjoy it. Fell out with love with playing music. So just getting over it now, like 20 years later. So
at least we're in Sheffield though, because that is a great city.
it is a great city. Yeah, I know my brother's lived in Sheffield for well over 20 years now. So I know Sheffield really well, and it is a really cool place, isn't it? Yeah. Really cool place. Okay, where were we then before we had to take the wee break? Because we're too tight to pay for Zoom.
There, I think we're talking about
Wees.
no
Benny's.
no
Little Chef.
And Benny's and a Little Chef.
Music school. That is what we were talking about, I think.
That is, yes.
Yeah.
And then you were talking about me doing my research, and I was saying that was it. That's what I was saying.
And you did so.
Yeah, because you come across as so confident, and I think your singing is absolutely fantastic, and we'll talk about exactly why we know exactly why your singing is so good in a bit. I'm sitting there, I can't get over the fact that you've only been here for 2 years. Like, that's mad. That makes me a bit sick as well, because we've been doing this for like 20 years and we're still a bit rubbish. You've been doing it for 2, and it's like, oh, you're really good.
Well, I guess, I mean, like Kane was saying before, like I have, even though I haven't been making music, I've like pretty much devoted my life to music in any other way that I can. So I've obviously, as a journalist, I've done a lot of analysing of different kinds of music. So, I mean, I have an idea of what a song should or could be in my head. So I guess that it works.
You've done a lot of homework. Then you've done it the right way around. Whereas we get into it when we're a teenager because we want to try and make girls kiss us. And we write some awful songs. My first ever song was about a polar bear. It was terrible. But you've kept back. You've stayed quiet, kept your head down. Taken on all the influences, and then you've just come out and gone, look at me, yeah, whatever. I
mean, another thing I do, and this is a bit sad, but I feel like I'm among friends here, and I feel like this is a thing that people who love music do. I watch tons and tons and tons and tons of videos of people of bands that I love performing live, and I'm just like, what are they doing? Like, how does this song go? What are just basically, trying to nick bits that I really like. So yeah. Well,
I think we joked the other day down here. I think that everything we do is stolen in some way or another. There's only so many notes to borrow from. Like I said the other day, oh, Steve, I've been using the chords that the Beatles used. It's like every song is stolen. Everything we do is borrowed and adapted. So no, I think we're quite safe to copy people. I'm still waiting to discover that every song Steve's ever written is just like a B-side of a punk band that I've never heard before.
So if you keep your influences fairly kind of low key, so that not many other people know these bands, then you can steal their songs easily.
Can I ask, how old are you both? I'm rubbish at working out ages. I can't figure this out at all.
I'm 20. I'm going to be 25 this year. I'm going to be
yes. 20,
25, and 23. Yeah, no, 35 and 30.
Right. Okay.
34.
Am I gonna be 34?
You're
gonna be 30. Yeah. I'm gonna be 30. I'm 33 at the moment. Yeah.
I wouldn't have. If you'd have said 25 and 23, I would have gone, okay, cool. I wouldn't.
See, I told you.
That's what we're going for. Yeah.
I've told everyone now.
Wouldn't have a clue. Seriously bad with ages. So
No, same. Yeah.
yeah.
Too
So
old.
that's it.
But there we
See,
go.
you just got to exude youth, or so I hope.
Yeah. Well, I think we're all doing that. Look at us. We look beautiful. Screenshot this. There we go. Beautiful. So we now know how far we're going back, because I want to start talking about, I like to figure out where people came from in terms of their influences, where you grew up, those kind of things. I work with kids, I work with people, and backgrounds are really important in kind of the work that I do, so I'm a bit obsessed with it. So where did you two grow up?
What do you do?
What
First
do
of
you
all,
do?
how old are you guys?
39.
40.
Was that recent? Your 40th?
My 40th?
Yeah.
August. So no, not really.
When in August is your birthday?
28th.
That's so close. Mine's the 24th.
Is it? Oh,
Joint party
Nice.
this year.
Yeah,
that's a good time to have best time to have a birthday, especially growing up, because you're never at school.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. 28th was always around the August bank holiday weekend,
Well,
and always around Reading Festival weekend.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was about
Perfect.
to say. Yeah, same.
I had my 18th birthday at Reading Festival, got my nose pierced. Apparently, I didn't notice until the next morning. And met the singer of Lagwagon, who was my favourite band at that point,
Do you
and
remember?
got on the TV. Crowd. I had green hair. I got on the TV, crowd surfing to Rancid on the main stage. And so
Well done.
that
That's
was really
amazing.
good.
Kane, just while we're on this, then when's your birthday, Kane?
30th of July.
Okay, my 21st of December, so I get the whole Christmas thing going on.
Oh,
no. Yeah.
So yeah, your presents are all bunched up. You don't get anything for the rest of the year.
Yeah, rubbish.
Yeah. Anyway, well, we were going back, weren't we? That's what we were doing.
Yes.
And we were asking and then we were going to ask you what job you do, because you were going to tell us.
Yeah.
For about 15 years now, I've worked in social care, children's social care.
Okay.
And so working in children's homes, and I now run a load of children's homes across Norfolk. So
Wow. That's
I'm a
amazing.
grown up behind this. I'm a grown up.
That's
Where did you and me and Steve have always lived around here. We've always kind of grew up in the Fens. You don't look local. Where are you from?
Can we go first?
So that just made me think of the first time we went to the pub here, and I was wearing that like a pink furry polka dot
Oh
coat.
no!
And
No!
everyone was like,
Tumbleweed moment.
yeah, it was a moment. I dressed a bit more like a farm. Well, I mean, like a really brightly coloured farmer now, I'd say. Wait, was the question where are we from?
Yeah, where did you grow up for a start?
Well, why don't you start?
All right, yeah, I'll start. So Jersey.
That explains the BBC Guernsey thing then.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and then moved to London when I was 17. Moved to West London, and that was it really. I was in London till about 5 years ago? No, longer than that.
No, wait. We went 4.
When did we move this way?
4.5 years ago, I think. 4.5.
No. Okay, 4.5 years ago we moved up this way.
Yeah. How did you find London? Living in London?
I had a really bad time. I wasn't in a good place when I moved there. I moved to Acton in West London, which at that time was really not a great place. Like most places, it's been kind of gentrified now, and it's probably quite lovely. But at the time, wasn't great. And yeah, I just didn't know anybody. I spent quite a long time sort of get the violins out. I spent quite a lot of time on my own. So yeah, it wasn't until later on when I moved out east and met this lot that I started to really. I mean, London's such a mad place. Like you can literally like turn a corner and it's a completely different like vibe or whatever. And yeah, I mean, East London is just really where it's at in terms of like the gigs and the clubs and the trend, the shops and the creatives and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I could have just been in a suburb of anywhere really. So yeah, didn't enjoy it, not until towards the end.
It's what it, like, I mean, like, when you grow up in somewhere like this and you go to London for a day or two, you just cannot imagine living there. When you grow up somewhere like this, because everything is so remote here that it just becomes so normalized that this is how the world is. And then you go somewhere like London and it's just like, oh, I'm exhausted after 2 hours. I couldn't do it. Yeah. What about you, Dan?
Well, I was born in Essex, and like I have moved around a load. My dad is from East London. In fact, all my dad's side of the family from East London, and my mum is Malaysian. So I've lived in both. We lived in Malaysia for a little bit, lived in London, lived in Kent, in Cambridgeshire as well, which is why we actually came back up here. But I'll go into that later. And yeah, I think when I was going to go to uni, I was always like, I'm going to London. I only applied to universities in London. Because all my family lives in East London, I was like, I want to be in East London. I mean, actually, initially there was another uni I wanted to go to, but that was the one I got into. And yeah, just I loved it. I absolutely loved it at the start. I just partied like mad. I just never stopped. And thinking about it now, I don't know how the hell I did that. But I was constantly working, constantly blagging my way through things, trying to get on, just trying to be in every scene. And then yeah, I met Kane because he used to drum in our friend Vince's band. And yeah, and then I guess after a while we were just like, let's leave London, because London was getting too hectic, and everything you love changes. It closes, something else gets put there. There's a whole new thing, and you start feeling old, because you're just all you is oh, remember when this story was there, remember when Metro was there.
Even since we left, we're like, oh, we could go. No, it's closed.
It's closed. It just sucks. So yeah, we're like, let's leave. And then it was a case of just going somewhere cheaper. And I lived in Huntingdon so from when I was 10, 11 or something like that onwards. So I did all secondary school there, and I was like, oh, let's look around there, maybe that would be affordable. And we just kept sort of going north a bit until we found somewhere that was affordable. And because we also wanted somewhere with a bunch of space so that we could make a load of noise and not annoy too many people.
Dan forgot to mention that when she lived in Malaysia, she used to go to school in Singapore. So she used to cross. The border every day to go to school.
Twice a day across the border. Because at the time, now, there's loads of English-speaking schools there, but at the time there weren't. So the only English-speaking school was in Singapore, so I had to go over there, which is kind of mad.
Wow.
I think.
It's crazy. It's like a completely different world.
I used to have to cross the border into Cambridgeshire to go to school. From Norfolk, Cambridgeshire.
Yeah, we have a special passport for that kind of thing, don't we? Border control, yeah. So you've got some space now to make. Sorry, Dan.
So I was just going to say, did you guys go to school together then? Is that how you know each other?
No, we went to posh school.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was at the Wisbech Grammar School, and he was at the Marshland School.
Marshland High School.
Ugh.
So how did you meet?
Through my cousin, really, wasn't it? My cousin Joe. We were in a band with my cousin Joe and his other cousin. We just happened to be in a band together, and we met through that. Which was
not giving your location away, but that was literally down the road from where you guys are. That's where mine and Steve's magic first happened, was just down the road from where you are. So that's where we were conceived, if you like. So what were your musical influences growing up, and is that what influences you now? What you were listening to in your teenage years, or did you just get rid of all that music at some point?
I think me definitely, but I think you too. Oh yeah, I would say that we haven't really let go of that many of our teenage listings.
I feel again it might be a full circle kind of thing for me, because sort of like going to uni and all that kind of stuff, you're sort of like looking for, okay, how do I be a better musician? What else is out there? And yes, you get into, I think as an artist, I think it's great to, dive into all the pools you can, because you can always take something from it, no matter how avant-garde or weird or classical, whatever it is, you can take something from it. But yeah, I definitely feel like I almost went full circle with the things like, sort of starting to admire things maybe that were more technical, or, like I said, like, maybe more like jazz, more about improvising, those sorts of things. But for me, I think I've come almost full circle. Like, it was always about the energy from the beginning, about that kind of raw kind of that thing that you can share with each other, on stage and with the crowd and all the rest of it. And I might have forgotten that at some point along the line. It's kind of been trying to find my way back home, kind of thing. So yeah, definitely a lot of the earlier influences have definitely always been there, and predominantly what we still listen to, for sure.
And what are they? What were they? What are they?
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like just adding to that, like my stuff I've been into, I would say like it's just broadened and broadened and broadened as I've got older, rather than like, moving on. I still love, I mean, like when I was a teenager, I was obsessed with Muse, and I'm definitely not obsessed with them now, but I still really love those earlier albums.
Yeah, that was a
The
great
first,
albums are amazing.
those first two albums are absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, also just to think that that's what they were making then. How did they even like come up with that?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what they're doing now is great. I'm not gonna say anything about it. I have a habit of like slagging off too many other people, so I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, what else? Oh, I've always been a massive indie kid, basically. So I'm trying to think, who was I really into before I was, because rather embarrassingly, like Arctic Monkeys are probably my favorite band, but I sort of came to them a bit late, because at the time I did that typical kid thing of like, well, I don't like this band, everyone likes this band, I don't like this band, but actually love them. So yeah, I'm sort of like annoyed because I know they played the Soul Tree in Cambridge and I didn't go because I was like, I don't see that bad. And I'm gutted now because that's tiny. But yeah, Blur, who I know you're also a fan of, Simon. Yeah, I mean, Damon Albarn's my hero. I love him. In fact, actually, he's one I study quite a lot, and Nick moves off of live.
Yeah, I mean, he was when I was, not so much anymore. But when I was younger, I'd watch, the Star Shaped. Have you seen the Star Shaped documentary that they did, God, years ago? When I was a teenager, that came out on video. The Star Shaped documentary. Watch that; it'll just change your life. It's incredible. But yeah, I used to watch Damon a lot. As I've got older, it's turned into kind of wanting to be Graham a lot more. But But
I think a lot of my music came from my dad as well, who was big into music. So he got me into like Radiohead and Travis, and trying to think of other bands now that I can't. But yeah, and then my mum, she likes anything, but she basically she listens to the radio. She doesn't really like seek out music. So I'd say like all the poppier side of stuff I've probably got from her. And I'm trying.
It's really cool. You almost. I'm going to analyze you now, Dan. Right? You almost seem a little bit embarrassed by some of the bands you like. It's like, don't be like.
I know.
If you like him, you like him. Like, they're all songwriters. They're all being creative. They're all offering you something. It's like, just say it out loud. Say I like the Arctic Monkeys.
Go on.
I love the Arctic Monkeys.
Yes.
I love Aqua. I mean.
When you say that, right? There's this. Do you remember Bewitched? Do you remember Bewitched?
Yeah.
There's a song called "The Rain Goes On." Okay, and in it, there's this drum beat that goes "Doo-doo," and it's just, I never forget that in my head, and I just want to recreate that drum beat on this acoustic album. I was thinking, where can we fit that in? But it never happened. But there's a drum beat in a Bewitched song, which is like amazing.
One day.
Sweet. Well, I mean, even like I don't know if I'm actually responsible for this, but when you sort of got into Justin Bieber,
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of those names. I'm not touching that. No way. It's never gonna happen. Leave me alone. sort of thing. But that Purpose album is great. I don't like
So
anything
good.
before or
Oh
after,
yeah, all the other
but
stuff isn't as good as like that.
really good
That
album.
album is incredible.
Yeah.
Steve, you're right. Are we losing you here a bit with the
No, it's
Mr.
good. Oh, good.
Mr. Cole down there, Mr. Cole?
I like Alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Generally
Yeah.
do. I absolutely love their first album, I think it is. And yeah, I could listen to that over and over again. Love it. Brilliant.
Cool.
I'm just like obsessed with the noughties. That's like my decade. When
So the early noughties, that was when the first Strokes album came out, and that was a moment. Oof.
that was a moment.
Have you heard the new Strokes album?
No, is it worth it?
Yes, it's amazing. It's
Definitely.
incredible.
So Rick Rubin one.
No, it's outstanding. I think it's the best thing since the first one. So do it.
Yeah.
Right, doing that tonight then. Thank
There's
you for that. That's good.
a song on it called, I think it's called Eternal Sunshine, and mate, it's just so good. It's too good.
Right,
I don't know
I'll
what any of the names are.
listen to that. Interestingly, that was my worst ever gig, was seeing the Strokes in 2001, I think it was, in Cambridge. It was just after the first album came out, and everyone was so excited to see the Strokes, and obviously I was as well. You just got the album. It was like, God, this is the best band I've heard for years. And they was just boring. They didn't say a word. There was no energy. It looked like they didn't want to be there. And it was just, they may as well just put it on the CD or something, because it was just, I remember it being so disappointing, because from the excitement to being like, well, come on then, entertain me. So yeah, that's a shame. Worst gig. What's the worst gig you've been to?
Oh, well, I saw Chicks on Speed supporting Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they got booed off. And then some of Red Hot Chili Peppers came out and were like, hey, don't boo them. They're like, we chose them to open for us, and everyone just kept booing until they had to walk off as well.
Jesus.
That was pretty shocking.
I saw Amen once, and they the guy trashed the drum kit in the first song, and then they spent like the next 20 minutes setting everything up again.
Oh, drummers.
And then he climbed the scaffolding and dropped the microphone. I was trying to get like some poor security guard or I don't know, stagehand to like climb up and give it to him, and he was like, I don't know, 40 foot, and it was really high up, and the poor kid was like, I can't go up there.
that does sound awful.
Really bad.
Steve, have you got a worst gig?
Well, the worst of actual performing was Red Hot Chili Peppers at Reading Festival. I thought they were dull as anything. They're just, again, like you said, they said nothing, and just they were kind of, in a way, they were kind of the perfect sort of thing. The album perfect. They played so well, but it was just like a CD was being played, and I didn't enjoy it at all.
That really surprises me, because they're known for being like really energetic.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know whether it's just I wasn't necessarily into them so much at that point, and was just kind of a bit down on them possibly, but it was a long time ago now anyway. But another one that I did was I went to see Finley Quay in Cambridge. Remember Finley Quay? And
yeah, literally came on the other day, and I had the exact same. I was like, Finley Quay. Anyway,
I liked him at the time, and we went to Cambridge Corn Exchange, waited there for ages. Turned out we'd been arrested at the Cambridge train station for with load of drugs and everything. So obviously didn't see that.
Wow.
And the same thing happened at the Roundhouse in London when we went to see did Flaming Lips. That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Travelled all the way to London to see that. Really excited to see them because I love Flaming Lips. And turn up to the Roundhouse, there's just a little note on the door saying, yeah, they're not playing tonight. Not feeling very well.
Oh my God.
It's just so annoying. But yeah, so the worst gigs really are the ones where the artists just didn't actually turn up.
I've been to a couple of Pete Doherty ones where he never showed up, and you just like wait until.
I wonder what he was doing.
Knitting, I think knitting.
Maybe.
Well, I've been recent news stories about him. Says he's stopped drugs now, but he's eating lots of cheese.
Dangerous times.
He's swapped drugs for cheese. He's a big boy now as well.
Fair play to him. Fair play to him.
Mhm.
Oh, geez, this
But
guy-
there was this comment of someone. So the people are putting loads of comments going, "Oh my god, he's so fat! Look at him! What's happened to him?" And someone on there put, "Yeah, but have you shagged Kate Moss?"
Touche.
Yeah, I like that. Right. Oh, I feel like I want to ask what best gigs are now quickly because we've done worse gigs. Does one spring to mind?
Oh, that's really hard.
Yeah, Bob Dylan, Hop Farm.
That's
Yeah.
a bit cool.
Yeah, I went to Hop Farm Festival. I was on my own. It was the peak of summer. It was this tiny little festival. The lineup was insane. It was like Johnny Flynn was playing, Laura Marling, Mumford and Sons, Pete Doherty, Ray Davies from the Kinks, and then Bob Dylan. And it was just like this one stage, no big cameras, nothing. And yeah, the Bob Dylan set was insane because everybody was so up for it. And these days he's got this thing. He's always had this thing where he like wants to do the opposite to what everybody wants. So he plays all the songs completely differently to how you hear them on the record. I mean, fair play to him. He's been playing them for so bloody long. Why wouldn't you? But basically, everyone was just like he'd do like 16-bar instrumental to intro to every song, and people were just like singing like the old versions over it. And he had a smile on his face, like up to here, you know. Just a great night. Yeah, that was mine. Definitely.
I really am struggling to.
Well, Monkeys in Madrid, that was pretty mad.
Yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, I don't know. That's so hard because I don't know how. I just don't know how to.
Have a think about it. Steve, have you got one?
I mean, Nick Cave, a couple of years back in Wembley, I think it was, possibly. Oh no, O2 Arena in London. But Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, big fan of them, and that was an amazing gig. He's such a performer, absolutely amazing performer. He is. Brilliant.
Yeah, I've never got Nick Cave at all, apart from the Kylie duet, which I absolutely love.
That's one of the best songs ever. That's absolutely amazing. You listen to his Murder Ballads album, and that is just it's storytelling. It's not just proper songwriting, it's proper storytelling in that, and it's just absolutely amazing. Love it.
I like the Arctic Monkeys cover of Red Right Hand.
Right.
That's there you go.
Not heard
that.
it.
No.
My Nick Cave input.
I've not heard much. I've honestly not heard much Arctic Monkeys. I know they've got hundreds of albums, haven't they? I think, haven't they? Haven't they got hundreds of albums or a few? I don't know. But that dance floor song, I know that one, but that's the only one I know. To be all honesty, unless I've probably heard them and not known it was them,
That's possible.
which is a good chance because I rarely know band names or song names or anything like that. Hence, that dance floor song.
I absolutely love the last Arctic Monkeys album. Actually, I can't remember what it was called. What was it called?
Tranquility Base.
Yes, I love that.
Tranquility Base.
So
Casino and Hotel. Is that what it's called?
That's
So
it. Yeah.
I feel really embarrassed. But I'm going to tell a story. So we basically bought it on vinyl. We were like waiting to like have a proper listen. Anyway, we sat down and I hated it. I was like, "There's no bloody songs. Like, just not what I expected at all." And I was like, "They've like let their fans down and all this like just complete nonsense that you'd expect to hear from a moron." And then about 2 weeks later, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I can't stop listening to it. So, but I mean, I said there's very few hooks, but now I could sing
It's
almost
super
every
hooky.
line. So, yeah, genius.
It's a very clever album. Very clever.
It's weird. I can't imagine writing that and being like, yes, this is it. Like but it is such a good album. I just don't know how we got there.
I felt like you must have taken the songs to the band and then gone, well, you've been right every other time, so
Yeah. Is there any music that's being released right now that you really like?
Well, The Strokes, that was incredible. We again, probably embarrassingly, we're quite big 21 Pilots fans. We saw them in Brixton. That was incredible. Do you know what? I've never seen this done before. The guy crowd surfed with the drum kit.
Like on his
They
drum,
had the
playing
drum
the
kit
drums.
on like a platform, and they pushed it out into the crowd, and he's going like, "What?" Like,
Yeah.
I know it's a little bit tacky because they're playing to backing tracks. There's a part of me that really struggles with that, but they're really great songwriters. They've just released a new single. It's
Amazing. Yeah.
It was just stuck in my head for days. I was like, "You bastards!"
What's it not with them? Like, I didn't realize they were one of those bands that you should be embarrassed about until I got like just loads of flack from my colleagues at
No,
work.
there was BoJack Horseman was slagging them off. Did
Oh,
you
was
see
he?
BoJack, the show?
No, I've heard of it, but I'm not
It's
seeing it.
animation on
It's
Netflix.
amazing.
But they had a bit where they were slagging them off. I was like, "Oh, people don't like them."
No, I don't remember that. But yeah, at work when I first like, because obviously when working music journals, we used to get a lot of free gig tickets. And when I asked my editor if he could request some tickets for that, and he was, and he started taking the piss out of me. I was like, is this not a cool band? I don't understand.
Yeah.
They seem awesome. I don't. What's the problem? But then I think I was known as the like one who liked shit pop music. But then they're so good. I don't know
anything about them. Can you recommend
I've
something?
never even heard of them.
What?
I don't think you'll like them. I must admit.
Well, we don't know. They might have incredibly broad music
It's just
tastes.
a bit. No, but I just think it's probably a bit too polished. But they are good.
Which one should I listen to? I'm going to try it out tonight. Which one?
You should listen to. And I feel like because this is the one that hooked me. What's it called? It's on Blurry Face. Wait, I have to look it up.
Yard Act. They're a band that we've gotten into recently. They're like played on Six Music quite a lot. Do you know them?
Okay, no.
So it's a bit like
Talky vibe.
a bit talky vibe. So like there's really sort of sporadic kind of quite a bit mod. Would you say it's a bit mod? Like a bit, a bit mod, a bit Clash. Like the music's a bit in that sort of vein. But then he's sort of
Bit
like
Gang of Four as well, Wire, that kind of vibe.
yeah, and then he's sort of like quite intellectual, kind of really clever, sort of talky lyrics over the top, but catchy as well.
And really funny as well. Yeah. Just FYI, that song, it's called Stressed Out.
Yeah.
That's the one that hooked me. So I feel like
Should check it out. No, we.
Sorry.
Oh, hello.
Yard Act. You might.
I think you'll like
them.
Yard Act.
Yeah,
sure.
you've said like Wiring Gang of Four and stuff, so probably will do if they've got that going on. Yeah, we struggle with new music. I guess we're listening more now to really kind of unsigned bands, like we find on Bandcamp, kind of little hidden small bands, rather than listening to Six Music or anything else, which I don't do anymore. It's about really is kind of connecting and listening to small bands like we are. Like just finding hidden gems everywhere. So
I bet you find a lot of them as well. I bet there's tons out there.
We have, by doing what we're doing of just putting stuff out all the time and being relentless. We're just so many people and finding so much. And Steve, you spend a lot of time on Bandcamp, don't you? You are the king of Bandcamp.
Yeah, brilliant. It's such a good website. It's such a good way of sharing music and promoting music and selling music, but just finding new bands on that it's an amazing website.
How does the search thing, does it like suggest like
there is suggestions based on things that you've bought or based on what you've played, but you can search for different genres, you can search for different locations, like genres in different locations as well. So if you want to particularly have like the Seattle sound of the Seattle punk sound, for example, you can do that, or the DC punk sound, whatever you want to do. But it's got such a good variety of music on there. You can really kind of hone in to those bands who have got very much the similar kind of musical ethos as you, and the music and the same kind of style as you, and it's really good way of connecting with other bands as well. I wish the website would develop a little bit more to have that connection a little bit nicer, the actual as a fan perspective, to be able to talk to other fans more on there to discuss different bands. But it's a really, really good website. I'd definitely recommend using that.
You guys like started a label recently, right? That's Bandcamp based.
Yes, it's called Socks On, and which is named after one of our songs off an EP that we recorded earlier this year. And it's a label kind of in name essentially, which is it's not, we're not taking anything from it. all it is with DIY music. I think there needs to be a proper community spirit with it. People need to be helping each other's bands out. But if instead of kind of slating their friends' bands or another band in the city or in the town who happen to be slightly different kind of style to you, so what, it doesn't matter, still help them kind of do what they want to do. What we're doing is we're kind of trying to get like-minded bands who have the same kind of feeling about DIY music and just trying to get music out there. We're trying to get them all onto this same label as such. There's nothing to do. We're not taking any money from it at all. They've still got full control of their Bandcamp, but our site is, if you will, our group is just, it's kind of a hub for these music. Somebody can search for our record label and they'll find all of these bands that are like-minded, and hopefully people start following all these other bands, start listening to other people's bands in this group, and people can share fans or share followers, and that's the idea behind it. If it works, I don't know, but hopefully it will. But
super admirable. It's something that I'm really passionate about trying to explore at some stage. That, you know, I think in the sort of sense that I'd like to do it, I probably have to earn a lot of money before I could even take a good stab at it. But it's probably like yourselves, there's probably smaller ways to do it. But isn't it such a weird phenomenon that the sort of place that the music culture has got to, culture in general, I suppose, with the rise of the internet and social media, how there's no, like, we don't tune in to like Friday night TV all together at the same time and see those 5 bands that have made it to the top of the charts, or we don't tune into the top 40 countdown, or we don't. There's this whole sort of dissolving of like a pop culture, which in some respects is brilliant, because now we all can have our own little personal, independent, what we love and our little niche, but then there's this element that's not shared anymore. You know what I mean? It's kind of, I love to try and find ways to reignite that kind of mass, I don't know, consumption, for want of a better word, of these little things. But no, that sounds awesome. That sounds really, really great.
Totally. I touched on that in one of these chats recently with somebody about how that thing about you knew if you were sitting watching Top of the Pops on a Thursday evening back in the 90s that your mates were doing it as well. Then you go pick up the home phone and you'd ring them and have a conversation about Blur. And it was always Blur. So I'm always kind of craving that still, because I was a teenager in the 90s with Britpop and Blur and everything, and all those kind of Elastica and all those bands. And you just felt part of something. And I had friends who were into more grunge music and kind of heavy metal music, and they were we were all friends, but they had their little part of community as well. And I know Steve went to a load of punk gigs when I was going to indie gigs as a teenager, and there was always that little community going on, whether it's on a local scale or, like you say, you're all listening to the top 40 on a Sunday afternoon. Whatever it is, there's something. But we're all reaching out and going, oh yeah, we know everybody, we've got 1,000 friends on Facebook, we're all so connected. It's like, it's bollocks. We're not.
Yeah, it is. It's terrible.
We're not connected until we do this, until we communicate like with you guys today. Now it feels like, okay, we're connected now and we're talking and getting to know each other. So, and for someone, we said this the other day as well, me and Steve are not the most sociable of people in the world. We walk into a pub and we'd be like terrified because there'd be people there. So we're not sociable, but at the same time, we kind of almost crave this weird community thing. So I think it comes from having that artist mentality, coming back to that again, rather than a musician. Being around creative people is what it's all about, isn't it? There's a certain mindset to that. I don't know what it is, but
I like the idea of setting a foundation for this. This is why this label thing kind of thing. I like the idea of setting this kind of foundation for people to kind of get to know each other and to get to know each other's music and promote each other's music, and then kind of sit back and watch it grow and just see how it develops with having just started it, not really. Do you know what I mean? I just like to watch it develop. It's so that's my interest in it,
because it's something I think we're always going to do it. We're always going to make music in some form or another. It might become slightly less energetic at some point, but we're always going to do it. We're always going to want to do this kind of label idea, I guess, and really. So it could be for years to come. So we've been doing it for about 3 days now. Typical of us. let's release 12 albums in a year. Let's do YouTube interviews and let's have a record label as well.
Yeah, not only that, but like your YouTube interviews, just like what are you guys doing, one a day or something?
We've actually got like 4 this week we're doing. And we don't clearly tonight we don't have a time limit on it. This is going to be about 3 parts, isn't it? And I'm sitting here thinking, oh, we're going to have a separate one when we talk about like recording gear and stuff like that. Just a real geeky one.
I mean, you can edit it. You can edit it.
Yeah.
Never. I will not be edited. No, but
we had to edit. We had to edit the last one, didn't we, because of copyright issues with things.
Yeah, the last one was from Daniel in Italy, who you'll see. Who, if you've seen our most recent video of the man dancing in his dressing gown, that's a guy called Daniel in Italy. He did that for us, and we interviewed him the other night. And I was being really quite confident and cocky with this thing now, and go, I can screen share stuff. I can put photos up. Nothing worked. I put the Italian national anthem up as he came in. Couldn't hear. He couldn't hear it.
Both go,
I was here going. Couldn't hear it. And then we when we first started out as Kapichat all those weeks ago, Steve stole a video off YouTube of what he thought was just a random man doing a dance, and it fitted one of the songs. So he stole the video, put it on, and then YouTube rejected it at some point. I was like, "What's that about?" And then Daniel from Italy looked at it, and he couldn't believe it. He's gone, he's basically Paul McCartney in Italy. This chap, he's like the most famous man in Italy, and you've just tried to nick him dancing for one of your videos. That's why it's been taken off YouTube. So I tried to play that on the chat, and then YouTube have rejected my upload of the whole interview. So then we'll have to wait and see if anything's happened tonight that YouTube reject. I don't want to waste this. Yeah, I don't want to waste this footage.
But yeah, just quickly before we move on there, you know how we're talking about like how there's like that dissolving of like pop culture, like we don't share things anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think if there was any medium to try and reignite that, it would be music, because there's nothing like being in a field with a bunch of people that you don't know all belting the same lyrics out at the top of your lungs, because you feel that common unity over what that band have created. There's nothing that touches that, in my opinion. So yeah, if there's any, I mean, that still happens. Obviously, we're still lucky enough that we have these. Well, not at the moment, but we have things like Glastonbury and things where people do come together. But I feel like it could all be just held up a little bit more by trying to head back in that direction. So yeah,
I'd also like to see the return of the band. Like, I know that there are bands.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a lovely thing?
I know that there are bands in the charts, but they're not like, they seem to be more sort of like, you know, manufactured bands, or there's the odd band who makes it through, like Sam Fender and Lewis Capaldi. And I mean, even they're kind of solo in a way, but they're like proper bands, you know.
No, Sam Fender's up there.
Yeah, in fact, he's a new guy who is incredible.
Do you know Sam Fender?
I know a couple of his songs. Yeah. Oh, can you hear me now? It's a bit weird.
Does he play Fender guitars?
He does, yes.
He does.
Okay, that's how much I know of him.
But yeah, I would just like to see a return of bands, because I feel like, I mean, obviously 90s, massive boom in bands, and as well as like dance music, but then the noughties as well as all bands. So I feel like it's like I've missed it, you know. It's like weird. And in fact, people say this to us all the time. They're like, "Oh, if you guys were around started in the 90s, you'd be massive. Or if you were around in the noughties, you'd be massive." You're like, "You're great, thanks." Well, we're not, are we? We're like struggling to get heard now.
So is that? I mean, my next thing I was going to talk about. We can't talk all night, but just going to talk about like lockdown and the impact that has had over the last year, really, on you picking up a fan base. Has it impacted, do you think?
Well, it's a great segue, actually, because I was just about to say that actually for an industry that's oversaturated with its product, i.e. musicians putting out music, oversaturated with like, you know, that kind of manufactured backing track kind of vibe, maybe lockdown's a blessing in curse, a blessing in disguise for all of us, because everybody I know of, even people who aren't even into music that much, are desperate to get to a show. So maybe, quite possibly, our product, again, for want of a better word, has actually just gone up. It's
Hopefully, yeah.
But
yeah, in terms like lockdown, weirdly, I think has worked in our favor, because as I was saying, before it happened, we'd only had like 2 live gigs, and I mean 2 proper gigs, and we were like, yeah, cool, we're ready, we're doing this, we're great. And over this last year, I mean, obviously we lived together, so it's easy for us, but we've just been practicing, writing more. We've got rid of, I don't think, and recording. I don't think we have any of the same songs, just one that we were playing like this time last year. We've already got rid of them. And we've developed as a band, like Kane said, he's got the electric guitar now, we've got the synth. It's just like grown a bit and been honed a bit, and have played live streams. But we've also got to know, we've made a bunch of connections, because I've just been like trying really hard to find as much as possible with the limited means that we have, which is a common thread in our band. And obviously, and like we've found like you guys, for instance, and like a bunch of other local bands, and also other connections, radio, press, and all that. Yeah, it's worked in our favor in that sense.
Yeah, I think, definitely what Dan said. I think we've become such a better band, and we would have pulled the trigger too early in trying to get out there and promote ourselves and all the rest of it. So I think, I think we did with Heartbeats. I think we were a couple of weeks off really realizing how to record ourselves properly and all the rest of it. So,
and that still has the acoustic guitar on as well.
Still has the acoustic
That's
guitar.
like
We were trying to record everything live. All these little things that really, we're living in a culture where I'm sure you guys remember this. You used to be able to like record something on a really rubbishy tape player, stick it in the corner of the rehearsal studio, and then take it to your mates and be like, listen to this, what do you think? And it'd sound like utter rubbish, but people would use their imaginations a little bit and give it the time of day and be like, yeah, I can see how this could sound cool, nice, good work. Nobody's got any time anymore, so unless it's like bang, hits you, it's perfect, it's sounds lovely, all the rest of it, you're like next kind of thing, and I'm guilty for it too, so I'm not pointing the finger at anybody, but it's really just giving us time to just really tighten everything and focus on what we want to do. Definitely.
And you record at home, don't you?
We do.
Yeah, laundry rooms.
Is that how it's going to be forever, or is this just during lockdown, or will you be going to a studio?
Probably. Well, I mean, if a label would like to pay us to go into a studio, then sure. But otherwise, yes, it's.
Do you think it would make any difference? Do you think it'd improve it at all? I'm all for home recording. I like more of the idea of home recording than going to a studio now. I like the idea of doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love your recordings. I think they sound absolutely incredible. So, and I can't believe how much you bosh them out. It's insane. But yeah, I feel, honestly, the honest truth is, it's something I've been chasing as long as I can remember, to be able to put a sound down onto record and have it sound how I want it to sound. And for people who don't do it, really don't quite understand how hard it is, to mix something so you take it to every speaker in your house and it still sounds good. That kind of thing is a whole nother level. And it really, until we made this record, this EP, I've never had that, and I almost started to think it wasn't possible for me. I finally figured out how to go through the mastering process. I'm more I did have production lessons at uni, but I didn't show up to any of them because I hated it. So, it's all self-taught. And it wasn't until I figured out that mastering process that everything else made sense, because I was trying to overcompensate with all the mixing to try and get to this kind of, this sort of, obviously the volume, but the clarity, all the rest of it. And it wasn't until I figured out that the roadmap became clear about how to record us, mix it and master it. And I love the sound of this record, and I honestly feel like it's a massive I feel like there's a massive weight off my shoulders. I feel like if something happened tomorrow where I couldn't play music ever again, I've kind of got something where I can go, okay, yeah, we did it. you know. So we're really proud of this record, and yeah, if we I'd love to go into a big studio with a great producer, but if it never happened, I feel like we've got the foundations now to do it ourselves. So yeah, it's good.
Oh my god, what was I going to say? I've just literally forgotten what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. Do you worry about what comes next then? Because you've just written something you're clearly proud of that sounds how you want it to sound. Do you worry what might come next, or do you think it's going to be better?
I've got her. I ain't worried at all. She's a hit machine.
I don't know about that, but I mean, even if so, we're obviously promoting this stuff now, but we're still writing the stuff. We have decided to focus a bit more on rehearsing now because we're getting ready to play live again. But yeah, we're pretty much always still writing and you know, getting new stuff, because I think it's really important to sorry, the realize this is going to sound funny because you guys are obviously doing loads and loads and loads and loads this year. It doesn't compare, but I feel like it's just because of this past year and how we've got rid of a bunch of songs, it's important to write a whole bunch and then get rid of a whole bunch and just be like, and to know, like, yeah, you know what, this is the best of what we've done in the past year or whatever. For us.
That's what we do.
And that's why I like this with this EP.
But in saying that, I also feel like now when we write, things almost don't end up being finished if they're not going to make the grade. So I think possibly an experience thing as well. I think, you know, I feel like as we sit and write together now, things don't really end up as a 3.5-4 minute piece unless it's going to make the cut. You know what I'm saying?
You need to be feeling it straight away, don't you? Really, you need to have, if it's not working for you the first few times you're trying something with it, then the way we do it, we just if it's not working the first time we do it, we go, nah, that's rubbish, and then go on to the next one.
I think that confidence that comes from experience, probably, which we don't quite have yet, but we're getting there. Definitely getting there.
But saying that, there are also songs that we've pushed with, and we've written like 3 or 4 different middle eights and outros, and eventually landed on something that we're like, oh shit, I can't believe we were going to give up on this because this is amazing. So there's also that.
There is that, yeah.
And are you very honest with each other when something sounds a bit crap?
Yeah.
I would actually say that if I was going to give one piece of advice to people trying to make music, it would be that the relationship you have with the people you work with is the most important thing, hands down. Forget the writing, forget the music, forget the instrumentation, whatever it is, because it wasn't until I started working with Dan that I realized actually I've never had a relationship in a band where we had mutual respect for one another, and it's obvious why it didn't work, you know. For all our talent and for all our want to make it the great, you know, to all the hours we put in, if we didn't have mutual respect for each other, how can you have those honest conversations with each other, you know, and get the best outcome at the end of the day? And I see a lot of young bands coming up who are absolutely incredible technically, and their songwriting like a million times better than I was ever at that age, am now. And I think to myself, there's nothing that you need to worry about but one thing, and that's maintaining your relationship, making sure that you've got each other's back, that you understand each other and you're comfortable enough to talk things through with each other. So yeah, definitely. I think that's probably our best strength, is that we've got that relationship where we can have those conversations.
Do you guys do you have little Barneys about other stuff?
We're too laid back to have arguments. If one of us thinks something a bit rubbish, we'll just say it, don't like that. And the other one will go, all right, don't worry about it.
we still get quite huffy.
No, there's no strops at all, are there? There's none. Neither of us are fussy. So if Steve's done a song and it's perhaps not quite my thing, but I think that's all right, yeah, we'll release that. And it's a song, it's all right, let's release it. So no, there's not strict quality control on what we do. But we know what sounds good and what sounds rubbish most of the time. So
I think the standard of your recordings is incredible. I mean, I don't know how you have that.
So quick though. It's funny that you say that because it's so rushed. I'll write a song, and then within an hour that'll be done. I'll send it to Steve. He'll have an hour on it, and it's like, yeah, we'll release that. And it's, I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe it's because you reached that point with it where you're not getting precious about certain things. Maybe that's what your strength is. Because I mean, one of the best moments for me, Dan's gonna be sick of me saying this because I've said it a million times, but one of the greatest moments for me as an artist was when I was doing GCSE art, and I had spent about 2 months painting this painting of a rock pool, and my art teacher came in and went, "Yeah, it's great. Now I want you to destroy it." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "You just lay it on the floor, get some paint and go for it, work in some shapes." So he came back in like 10 minutes later, and I painted like some PlayStation shapes on it. And he said, "I didn't tell you to, paint some triangles." And he just got a bucket of paint and threw it on it. And it was the greatest thing he could have done, because he said, he was saying, don't get precious about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more important for you to explore and create something, that means something to you. So yeah, I mean, I think it's probably works in your favor that you don't get precious about it. That you just, you make decisions and go for it.
Yeah. And I think it's working, yeah. And moving on to the next thing, we just give our songs to random women to sing on as well.
Yeah, that doesn't work out very well. I wouldn't do that.
Precious. So yeah, we got in touch with a song that Steve wrote the start of this one, I think, Cannibals, yeah. And we just thought your voice would be great on it, and we thought you'd say no, but you said yes. And it's absolutely love it. I can't stop listening to it. And the car, we always text Steve going, "I'm now doing the car test with the car speakers." The car test.
Yeah.
Because the phone test always sounds a bit, when you just have on the phone speakers, you're like, I'm not sure about the levels, not sure about the vocals are too loud. But you get in the car and it's like, oh, okay, yeah. So did the car test on Cannibals, and it's just made me smile the whole way through. And I keep listening to it. And those extra bits you've put in, which hopefully people that are watching this will listen to soon. It's just like such cool little ideas that you came up with. And I was almost, your voice sounded amazing. I was almost embarrassed about our vocals being on it a little bit, because it was like, oh, it's gonna ruin it a bit.
I love the juxtaposition. And like I was saying to you, really, as soon as I heard it, I was like, Pixies. And then I was just like, Pixies. It's gotta be like Pixies. So cool. I know it's not exactly like Pixies what came out, but it's great. Yeah, I love it. Even I played it to my mum as well. She thought it was very catchy, so it's got mum approval.
Excellent. I think that's the thing with this, that a lot of what we're doing is not accessible to a lot of people. If you like noisy music, you like what we're doing. But that song, I'm really interested to see what happens with it when we put it out, because it's really catchy. It's really accessible. That let's see who likes it, and it'd be really interesting.
Got to do a video. Yeah,
we've got to do a video. Got to think of something for that. We're going to have to finish soon. Look at it. It's past Steve's bedtime. He looks tired.
I wanted to ask before what your plans are for live. How are you going to what's the plan?
Beyond the 12 albums this year.
Like playing live.
Playing live.
Playing live.
I've always said for life.
For life, yeah.
I think retire at 50, yeah.
No, we at the start of it, and we're talking very short timescales now. It's only April, and we started in January, so very short timescales. But we've now decided that we do need to do some of this live. We've got such a mass of songs now to pick a good set from. It's not like we've got 8 songs. Can we do a whole set with 8 songs? It's like we've got 60, 70, 80 songs now recorded already this year. So it's like we can make a set out of that. So yeah,
they're all very simple ones to learn as well.
Yeah,
there's nothing. Shouldn't be any problem learning these live.
Everything is very, very simple. So no, we are going to play live. Hopefully this year. By the end of this year, it would be cool to do something. So yeah, we're gonna.
Are you gonna enlist some other help, like drummer and all that, or like how are you planning it?
Yeah, we will enlist a drummer. I mean, we've got Lewis from Fuzz and the Felts. We're gonna see if we can steal him for a few songs for a set.
And we've already got him recording doing some home recordings for songs for album 7, is it?
Yeah, album 7.
7.
We're on 5 at the minute. 4.
Yeah.
5.
Right.
The next one's album 5. May is album 5, the acoustic album. Album 6 is that. Album 7 is that one, yeah.
So he's recorded so far 3 songs with live drums for album 7, and they're sounding good. I love working with the live drums. I'm learning new techniques of kind of mixing and making these things sound nice. And I've always wanted to do it with the live drums properly. And he's worked hard on trying to get the best recordings he can from his garage, and it seems to be working quite well. It's quite nice.
Everybody stupidly, do you mind me asking how he's recording the drums?
He's got we've got a set of I can't remember what drum mics they are. It's a cheap set off Amazon. Just put on each individual drums. We're just doing 1 snare, bass drum, the toms, and 2 overheads, and 1 room mic, going into a Zoom R16 audio interface.
Yeah,
straight into Logic, recording like that. And it's very simple setup, but he's spent a lot of time trying to get the garage sounding right, because with drums, when you're recording those, it's so dependent on what noise is bouncing back at you when you're recording it. I'd like to try with much better microphones than that, just to see what difference that would make, and I'm sure it would make quite a bit of difference. But at the moment, the processing you can do on Logic, for example, in order to make these good drum recordings sound amazing, is fairly simple to do once you get your head around doing it. So we've had fairly good results so far.
Layering MIDI over this as well, or are you just working with the audio?
What we are doing, because what we're really struggling with recording properly on the drums is because of his cymbals. Recording those nicely and getting those to sound nice is becoming quite difficult, because he will say himself he doesn't have the best cymbals out there. He's got what he's got. His drum kit it's decent enough drum kit, but it's not top of the range cymbals or anything. And it's the difference with the cymbals when you're recording them. So we're layering a bit of I'm layering, or have layered, a little bit of cymbals over the top of it, just to kind of make it sound a little bit nicer on the cymbals. And I have attempted to kind of layer the snare up the bass drum, with a MIDI bass drum through Logic as well, just to try and get more of a low end on it, just to get that more of a thump to the bass drum. But I've been kind of semi-successful with that so far. I think just the raw drums are a bit better at the moment.
Yeah. Nice. Interesting. You could always do a Josh Homme and record the drums and the cymbals separately.
Yeah, like we did in Gentle Ben years ago. We said this in the first video that we did. We recorded a song which we listened back to it and thought that needs to be faster. I think. Should we re-record it again? Nah, we'll speed it up. And we sped it up like half. I don't know, a third faster or something like that. And then the cymbals sounded terrible, so we recorded the cymbals smashes after that on top of it. We should have just recorded the whole thing again, really.
Never know.
Well, in true us style, even back then, there was no quality control, was there? It was stick it out. Right, have you two finished talking about drums and
sorry. Yeah.
That's where I hit my limits when they're talking micing up drums. It's like, oh. We're gonna have I've been trying to get, because Simon's there. We go.
With guitars and everything. Okay, so Simon, when he's recording guitars, he'll set up a sound on Logic through the virtual amps and all that kind of stuff, and they sound really good. They do sound really good.
Yeah.
We've got good microphones now. He's got amazing amp, amazing guitars.
Yeah.
I really want these to be proper. I want to get proper recordings of his proper tube amps.
Well, there's no
reason recording. Sorry?
There's no reason why you can't, surely.
No, there isn't, except he's stubborn. He's annoying. It's using the preset Logic sounds.
You gotta do it. You won't go back. Honestly, I promise.
I'm in my little cave here. It's a lot of effort to move from here to over there to put a microphone down to then come back here. It's when I could just plug in here.
No, do it.
It's a lot of effort.
I promise you won't. You'll never go back.
Yeah.
I even bought
These things.
We
sent you a picture of. Yeah, the Aston mics. We'll tag Aston mics in this. They like it when we tag them. Yeah, Aston mics. These things are amazing, like a machine.
Nice. Brilliant. I bought a 2 notes kind of interface, so you can record straight. You can crank up the valve amp straight into this 2 notes unit and put that in and get the proper valve sound. But even that still doesn't have the proper. That still doesn't work as well as I want it to. But I just wanted to start recording the amp properly, because it seems such a waste to have these amazing amps, amazing guitars there. And
yeah. All right then, I'll do it.
At a low volume, you've got to make sure it's not all hideously.
I don't have to do that on an amp. Okay.
The amp cranked up, input down.
Album.
Does the microphone not have a decibel cut?
It does, yeah, it does. You can have that microphone. You can have it. You can have phantom power or not phantom power on that, and it works quite nicely.
Yeah, and hit the decibel cut. You're done.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
All right, you two have got to do a separate video. All right. This interview is like the mainstream kind of content we put out. So you're going to have to go for the underground.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, we'll do that. Just last couple of minutes then, I guess. We're just talking about lockdown, and we've met loads of cool people during lockdown, kind of virtually and through messaging and stuff. I did notice again when I was stalking you just before we came on tonight that you were on one of the same videos that I was on during lockdown.
The Fizz Wallace one.
Yeah.
Hey!
I didn't know you guys were on it until I saw your like slow motion clip of it.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realise you were on it either.
Yeah, so we've known.
That was before we connected with you guys, so I wouldn't have noticed.
No. I think so. You did some quite cool stuff. I just sat in front of a camera and went like that. That'll do.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that now.
Yeah, I'm on it, and I did a twizzle in my chair and felt sick. So yeah, no. So in terms of people you've connected with, so is Fizz Wallace someone recent you've connected with?
Yes, although I think
we met them at the Blue Boar actually.
Yes, that was it. Yeah, we saw they played one of the Blue Boar open mics because they were like, this is pre-lockdown everything. They were gearing up for a support slot with, I can't remember the band.
Republica.
Yes, Republica, that's it.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, when they did that. Republica in Bedford, I think it was they played.
Yeah. So they were basically just wanted to like play a bit. So they came to the open mic and I was like, these guys are really awesome. And then in between lockdowns, we played a gig together at the Met Lounge, which was cool because also by that point they were going to play a gig with us in Cambridge. We were going to play a gig with them in Stanford, at P Break, I think. So it was kind of like we were really gutted because obviously everything got cancelled. And so when we got to play a socially distanced gig with them in between the lockdowns last year, that was awesome. But yeah.
Have you listened to her solo album yet that she's just released?
No, I haven't listened to it yet.
Honestly, I was not. I did not that I thought it would be rubbish, but I listened to it and I was like, seriously good. Like she's just done that over Christmas. I think she said like over a few weeks over Christmas.
Yeah.
There's some incredible songs on that. Like check it out. It's on Bandcamp. Go listen on Bandcamp.
Sweet.
Anyone else locally that you've met recently that you want to mention?
Well, yeah, there's like we were saying, Mark Stevens, who's Peterborough singer-songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
And we also met him at the Blue Ball. That's weird. Which is another night. And then a guy called Matt Reaction, who is from Bury St Edmunds, because he runs the open mic night there, and we met him at that. But we've become like really good friends, and he's going to be in our new video. Oh, as the panda. He's dressed as a panda in part of it.
Okay.
That's just a very small element of the video. And then who else have we met? There's guy called Theo Sayers from Cambridge. Completely nuts kind of. Who is he? Like, it's really good. It's super catchy. And he is like, I can't remember. There was someone I thought that I was like, that is almost spot on. A little bit like a smidge of Brian Ferry, but that's not very good. A bit Gary Newman vibes. Anyway, people we've met in lockdown.
Gary Newman, yeah, he was alright.
Other local acts.
I think
you guys, obviously.
Yeah, you guys. I think we've so we the guy who filmed our video, Pete Wales, he was somebody who touched base with us during lockdown.
We found him in lockdown, yeah. Well, he found us.
Mm-hmm. There's people who have contacted us, like the Noisy Brainer guys. So there's a guy who is trying to start like a mental health app to help people that have got, mental health issues. So he's asked us to do a video for them, which we did. I just thought of something. Sorry, bear with me. Is
it Artemix?
Artemix, you talked about that? Yeah, so there's a company that was looking to do like a chain project through lockdown. So basically it's like an art thing. They start with a concept, say it's, I don't know, motherhood, and the first person gets the concept, but everybody else in the chain doesn't. And then each person in the chain creates a piece of art based on one that came before them. And then they're gonna hopefully exhibit it in a gallery space. So that's kind of like a conceptual thing. Minga, there's a clothing company called Minga who reached out to us to do a performance for them, so they gave us some clothes and we did a performance for them. So yeah, I think it's definitely, people are finding new ways to communicate with each other, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
if you watch the last video, you'll see that Kappa football tops gave us some clothes to wear, but they made them far too small.
That's super cool.
Didn't.
Not really. Again, this is part of the absolute car crash of the last interview we did. Bless him, for Danielle. He's Italian. Me and Steve, we love football, and so we thought, let's do an Italian football thing because he might like football. So we're sitting there in Italian football shirts with Italian background. Do you like football? No. Oh, okay. Totally ruined everything we had planned.
Well, you died.
Who do you both support?
Norwich. Yeah.
Both Norwich. And what's your take on the
Super League?
The Super League.
Super League. Well, I kind of twigged earlier that because Norwich just got promoted, those 6 teams are scared, and so they.
Right. So you got them on the run. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So,
it's not going to happen anyway. It won't happen. Man City and Chelsea are both pulled out of it tonight, so it won't happen. It's a lot of noise about nothing, really. I think.
Yeah.
People get too het up and overexcited about stuff that's football wise. At the end of the day, if it did happen, football would still carry on happening. Whatever. It doesn't really make that much difference, I don't think. But,
yeah.
Yep.
Are you guys sports fans?
No.
Yeah, no. My football team is Inverness Caledonian Thistle.
One of the best names in the British Isles. Yeah, what a cracking name.
Because they're close to Jersey.
No, it's not really.
I wish I was into football, but I'm not. I'm sorry.
I used to play five-a-side when I was in London.
You were good as well.
Yeah.
I wasn't. But I don't watch it. No.
That's all right. That's right. I do appreciate it's the ridiculous thing to watch 11 young men run around kicking the ball into a net. It's ridiculous, but for some reason,
or not kicking it in.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Like, I don't mind watching a football match when goals are scored, but when no goals are scored, like, oh god.
It's a community thing though, again, as well, isn't it? It's like that whole. I completely get it. I just I think for me it was just the types of people that were mad into football would throw me off the pier every weekend. So I think
we've always supported Norwich. I don't think we've ever got that because Norwich has always been such a nice little family club. It's just always been go to a football match as a kid, and now it's just a nice experience because I don't think I've ever seen any trouble in 30 years of going to that football ground. I don't think I've ever seen
except on an Ipswich game.
Yeah. Yeah. Happy years.
That makes sense.
Yeah, have you seen any gigs at Norwich Uni? Is it?
Yeah, is it UEA?
UEA.
Yeah, there's
I played there.
Yeah.
I played there in 1996 when I was 16 with my first ever band.
Yeah.
They did a yearly gig with loads of local bands, Gig 96. And we got pulled over coming home because we were all mooning people outside of the back of the minibus. Turns out it was a police car, so he pulled us over.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
just thinking of all the gigs. I've seen so many gigs there. Like the last one I saw was Idols, but over the years I've seen Supergrass, Block Party there.
Uncle,
Manic Street Preachers, Suede, seen just everyone there. I like Norwich UEA because it's got the little steps at the side, isn't it? And then the sweaty bit down below. Yeah,
it's really nice venue. Yeah, definitely.
We went to the Good, the Bad, and the Queen not so long ago.
Oh yeah,
that's good.
That was good.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, I got one more thing to ask about. One more thing.
Okay.
Dan, you're on Pointless. Is that right?
Yes.
You actually? Is that a
wait.
joke? You were on Pointless? Is that a joke? Like, was that a fake picture, or were you actually on Pointless? Is that something to do with it?
You can't really see because it's glass, but that is the Pointless trophy.
Did you actually win then?
Hell yeah.
Did you?
Well, we didn't win the money, but I went there to get the trophy, so you know.
So is this available online to watch then? How can we find you on Pointless? Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's still up there. Although actually, I think it was on again the other day because somebody said, one of my neighbors was like, "Oh, I saw you on Pointless last night." I was like, "Oh, it must have been on again." I did have the episode numbers. I can't remember what they
Was it fairly recent? Was it fairly recently? Was it this year?
Well, it only just aired like a couple of months ago. Yeah, maybe a couple of months ago. But we filmed it last February, so just before.
Oh wow!
Stuff got locked down. In fact, I can tell you when it aired because we posted about it. When was it? There we go. It was. Oh, it aired in February. There we go.
I was really impressed about that. I seem to be the only person that's excited about it. But
so the guy she went on with, Alexi,
yeah,
he's the guy that she used to DJ with.
Yeah, he's the guy I ran a club night with.
Yeah.
I'll have to find it and watch it.
And they're both super clever and great at quizzes.
We were also on a quiz team together.
Yeah, I don't remember anything. Don't remember people's names, dates, nothing. So that's why I didn't go.
Right. And have you ever been on TV? Kane, have you been on TV? Anything similar?
Nah.
No. Steve, have you? Steve, have you been on TV?
I've been on Japanese TV, if that counts. I installed some airport machinery in Tokyo Narita Airport, and it was the one of a kind, or the first time that they'd had that kind of machinery. And so the Japanese news channel came and filmed us doing it and spoke to me about it. So I was on TV with all the bright colours, writing all over the screen, and yeah, that was pretty cool. Talking about airport machines, but it's good though. Good experience.
What's your job, Steve?
Sorry?
What's your job?
I used my music degree really well and ended up building machines for potato grading, because so I build machines that decide whether potatoes are good or bad. So
we very often get photos of potatoes in the band chat.
You're like a Fenland Willy Wonka. It's great.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
The most shocking pictures he sends us are like, these are Pringles. These are going to be Pringles. These ones are.
It's been quite a good job, to be fair. I've travelled all over. I think.
Are Pringles the not potatoes then?
Oh, I'm not saying a thing.
You'll have to cut that.
Yeah, we'll send you a picture. Like,
It tastes good. So
yeah, I love Pringles.
Right. Been a two-hour Das Kapichat tonight.
Yes. Sorry about
And I feel that
We'll have to do it in real life, like at a pub or something. That would be that'd be good. Although knowing your guys' schedules, I don't know when.
Well, you've just put behind album 9 tonight by being on here for 2 hours. So no, I feel like we've got more to talk about. I feel like there's lots of directions we can go here. But you two can go and talk about drums and things. We can talk about quiz shows. So we're gonna have to do some like mini episodes connected to this masterpiece.
Cool. Yeah, Dan.
So yeah, thank you for joining us. It's been really cool.
I finally got to speak with you.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So hopefully people are, is anyone still watching by now? If you're still watching, anybody, you've done really well to get to this point. And check out Collars on Facebook and Instagram, and you have a website as well. You've got it all, and it all looks so professional.
Collarstheband.com or Collars the Band on all the other social networks.
And it does look very snazzy and polished and very cool. So, right, so this is where we do a fake goodbye, and then we'll say goodbye properly afterwards, and we keep this bit in. So, bye.
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 There we go. There we go.
Bye.
Das Kapichat, das Kapichat, das Kapichat.